Hi guys, Jason from 2Reviews here. Today we've got the Sony MH755s, and for $5, if you don't have them, get them now. Alright, disclaimer before the review, I would like to say I bought these by myself with my own money from a site in Indonesia, on Tokopedia. I am not affiliated to the store by any means, and this review is completely of my own opinion. Right, so we're gonna start with sound. So just a TLDR of the sound. It's tuned based on the Harman target, which means there's an emphasis on the sub bass, a little bit of an emphasis, or actually a huge emphasis, on the upper mids to the lower treble, and a bit of a scoop in the mid range. Overall, I really like it. Okay, so we'll start off with bass. Okay, based on the MH755s, they're massive. The sub bass boosts on these are huge. The Harman target itself has like a 20 dB bass boost compared to the diffused field target, which is just a flat line essentially. The Harman target in comparison has a huge sub bass emphasis, and I thought I wouldn't like these, but using them daily I actually do. Now this bass emphasis, this sub bass emphasis, this doesn't really this does okay, that does somewhat carry on to the mid bass, but so now there's less mid bass emphasis than there is sub bass, but there's still quite a lot of it. So it slams hard, but punches aren't as big as you would think. Still quite a lot of bass though, and it's really nice bass. It doesn't linger too long, although it's a dynamic driver and on the lower end of the spectrum, which usually in this price range you wouldn't really get bass that's this well textured, separated, and also bass that doesn't just become one jumble of sound when there's lots of things going on. And it's sub bass you can feel. So if you like watching movies, you like listening to EDM, which has lots of sub bass, just get off this video and just buy them now. Because for $5, I don't think you can get anything better than this. Now, going to the mid-range. So mid-range for male vocals, because of the bass emphasis, there's actually quite a lot of weight in the male vocals, which I like. And mid-bass doesn't really bleed much into the mid-range, so that's also a good thing. There's minor bleed, but it doesn't bother me as much. Female vocals, on the other hand, so for some types of music, mostly J-pop or any songs, the upper mid emphasis for me, it can get a bit too much. It can be a bit too forward and can sometimes even sound piercing, probably. Yeah, I find myself getting fatigued a lot faster than on other IEMs when listening to J-pop or any songs. Right, so if you are sensitive in this area, I would suggest you just try these first. But yeah. Anyway, now mid-range itself, there's not a lot of things to talk about this. I don't have a lot of words to describe it. It just sounds nice. Although, as the concept that I've laid out before, female vocals aren't really my thing on these IEMs. But lots of my friends who listen to a lot of any songs in J-pop do like these. So it might be a personal preference thing. I like a bit of less emphasis in the upper mids and treble. I'm a bit sensitive to that region, so right. So guitars sound amazing. Obviously, violins, they are also you might love them or hate them. I don't really like violins on the MH755s. The same issue with like female vocals, they're a bit too forward for me. But now going to the treble, this does become less of a trend. So the treble actually unexpectedly actually they roll off quite fast. So they roll off at around 10k I think, and the treble is a bit lower than the upper mids actually. And for me, who's sensitive to treble, I love it. And although it isn't as emphasized as the upper mids, the sound still has this airy quality to it. It doesn't sound congested. It doesn't sound muffled by any means. So if you think that the huge emphasis on the bass will muffle out the sound and everything will just sound like mud, it won't. Okay, now with this airy quality in the sound, it does create a nice soundstage also, which is one of the other strengths of these Sonys. So generally, if you wear IEMs and let's say this is your head, some IEMs, one that comes to memory very clear is the JBL CS100Is. Uh, while you're wearing those IEMs, sound just sounds like it's coming from inside your head. Might be because it's so muffled, might be something else, but it just sounds nauseous. Yeah, it doesn't really sound that great. It sounds like it's coming from inside your head, and just for me, it makes me nauseous. Okay, now and the Sony's though, the sound doesn't feel like it's coming from inside your head. It sounds like it's coming from not really outside of your head. It sounds like it's coming like on your face, around it, sort of. And this position of the sound doesn't really feel like it's coming from between your ears. And it's a bit more forward than that. It's not exactly outside of your head like I mentioned previously, but at least it doesn't sound so congested. And for me, it doesn't induce any sort of nausea. And although it has this big soundstage, a bit of a miss on the MH755s is that the imaging isn't exactly great. I can tell the general direction of instruments in the music, but I can't really pinpoint them as good. I can probably tell them, like, I can tell in the general direction of them, left, right, they're like 30 something degrees there probably, but yeah, I can't really precisely tell them. For example, if you listen to something that's very instrument busy, something like Wagaki band, which I usually use to determine the level of separation and imaging, I wasn't really able to do that with the MH755s. Okay, now speaking of separation and imaging, separation on these are quite nice. They're not the best, obviously, but I think that going up to even something like the Ibaso IT01s, imaging no, separation doesn't really fall that far behind. Sounds don't stack on each other. You can still tell there that the violins are the sounds of the violin are coming from the violin, vocals are from the vocals, and you can still tell the back sound from the main actor, main vocals. Yeah, it's quite nice. In general, I'll just have to say for $5, you can't really get much nicer sound than this. Of course, with that many praises, there has to be some sort of shortcoming, right? And yes, there is. A big one actually, depending on how much you like modding and buying other things for your earphones. Now, the MS755s, now going to build quality, there isn't much to talk about. It's as basic as an earphone can be. It's just a normal plastic shell, ABS shell. The ear tips are quite nice. The cable is your biggest problem and will be your biggest problem, I would say, unless you have some sort of receiver that it was designed for. So if you didn't know, the Sony MH755s, they were designed to be used with a Bluetooth receiver. They were called the SBH20, and they were supposed to be worn on your neck so that the longer part of the cable you would put around behind your neck, and you would use it on the you would use it for your right ear, and then the shorter one would be on your left ear. Or you could also do it in reverse if you wanted. But yeah, the left right wiring is that way, so the longer side is the R side and the shorter side is the left side. Now if you are using a Bluetooth receiver and that is your intended usage, then it won't be a problem for you. But if you're anything like me and you like to plug it into your phone or something like that, you'll need to get an extension cable bare minimum. And if this one-sided, one long side cable disturbs you by any means, yeah, you'll have to get these either recabled or modded. Now, what do I mean by getting them modded? So getting them modded, I actually have a pair here which I've modded. I got these MMCX modded. So they have a detachable connector here. So these are the MMCX connector, like you get on the Shure SE215s. And yeah, so now you can replace the cables and all that stuff. So if you want to use a shorter cable, longer cable, you can knock yourself out. Aside from that, aside from the cable issue, we're also going to talk a bit about the ear tips and the nozzle in general. I have a bit of a problem with the ear tips. I usually am not exactly picky with ear tips, but in the MH755s, so the ear tips on these, so the outer bits of it, they're quite soft. I don't think you can really tell from the video, but they're quite soft. Problem is, it has quite a big of a bore here. So the silicone bit here is quite thick. So if you have small ear canals, even on the smaller size, you'll probably have some fitting issues. Especially because the end of the nozzle here has this sort of like, I don't know what it is, but it has the same design like the Sony hybrids, but on these ear tips they're just a bit harder, so the nozzle feels bigger than it really is. So now you're thinking, okay Jason, then I can just replace the ear tips, right? Like you've done on your modded pair. Well, yes you can, but there's a bit of an issue. So the nozzle on the MH755s are incredibly short, and they have this sort of notch on them. And these were designed so that you could use the MH755's ear tips, and which they also had the notch designed into the ear tips, like you would on other Sony ear tips, so that they would fit like this. I hope the camera can pick this up, and so it doesn't really fall off as easily in your ears. This doesn't really happen with other ear tips. For example, like here I have the Spinfit CP145s. If I put them on here, just a little bit of force can pull them off. So you will need to find ear tips that fit the nozzle quite well. So something that's smaller than the recommended size chart of ear tips usually. So yeah, so the CP145s for this nozzle diameter usually works well in my experience, but the MH755s not really, because of how short they are. So better to do some exploring on that. Now last we're just going to talk about the packaging, which there isn't much of. That's why I put it on the end of the video, because all you get is this plastic bag. Because as I mentioned previously, these were bundled with the SBH20s, and the IEMs itself, they were sometimes sold separately. So that's why you can buy these separately, aside from the Bluetooth receiver. Yeah, you only get 3 pairs of ear tips. You get the medium size, small, and large. And that's it. You don't get anything else in it. You don't get a manual or anything. You don't get any sort of warranty, nothing. If you just buy the IEMs, I don't know what you'll get if you buy the Bluetooth receiver also, but I couldn't really find the Bluetooth receiver itself actually. I couldn't find any on my local marketplaces. Right, and before we end the video, I just give one more comparison. So I've compared these to the Ibaso IT01s previously in my earlier in the review, and just to add more comments onto that, because I think the IT01s are quite a common IEM in the as an entry audiophile IEM. To me, technicalities wise, they're actually on par. I don't think that's exactly a controversial statement. I think some other people also agree with me and can agree with me on this. It just, it doesn't speak badly of the IBASO IT01s, but speaks how good the MH755s really are. For this cheap price of performance, I wouldn't say you can really beat that. And the MS755s are indeed tuned differently to the IT01s, and obviously the IT01s have a much better build quality. Like, the IT01s have this nice shell, they have these nice cables, and they come with a hell of a ton of ear tips by default, and come with a nice case. Aside from this, sound-wise, I actually prefer the 755s. The IT01s have a bit of a more mid-bass bloat than the 755s, and the sub-bass isn't as nice on the IT01s as they are on the 755s. And treble is actually a bit more piercing on the IT01 than they are on the 755s. There's less treble on the 755s than there are on the IT01. That's why that is. But female vocals, the upper mid emphasis on the 755s don't really exist on these IT01s. There's a bit of a rise in the upper mids on the IT01s because they are V-shaped, but it's nowhere near as intense as the 755s. So female vocals, I tend to sometimes just go to the IT01s if I want to listen to female vocals. Okay. But overall value, you just can't beat the 755s. Okay, and I think that does it for the review. Like if you liked it, comment what you think, subscribe if you want more content, and I'll be linking what Brian thinks of these 755s right about now. There should be a pop-up showing. And this is also how we're going to be doing reviews in the future. We'll be doing two reviews for one item. We'll be sharing each our own opinions on a certain item, so you can get two perspectives of a certain item from just two casual guys reviewing audio products on the internet. And yeah, see you next time.